To this now. So the DA has condemned an attempted robbery on 3 members of Parliament in Philippi in Cape Town. Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Police Chair Ian Cameron, Lisa Schickerling and Nicholas Gotsell were returning from an oversight when the window of the car they were in was smashed. Well, DA Chief Whip George Michalakis joins us for more. George, apologies on the mispronunciation of your surname, but thank you so much for making time for us. I mean, this is concerning when we have been, in fact, focusing on crime in the Western Cape today, the Portfolio Committee on Police then becoming a victim of it. Just talk to us about the account that you have on what it is exactly that took place.
Yes, well, it is extremely concerning, but it is also the situation that South Africans face across the country every single day. We know that the Western Cape has certain crime spots that are problematic, but it's across the entire country, and obviously policing is a national government function. So it is quite concerning. What happened, I believe, was that the 3 members of Parliament were returning back from oversight, and yeah, they were essentially hijacked or robbed at a crossing. They were in their car. They sustained injuries, and obviously, yeah, we're just very glad that all 3 of them came out of it alive. But this is unfortunately a situation that many South Africans face on a daily basis, and it's just another indication that crime in this country is getting out of hand.
Yeah, just obviously to check how they are doing, the extent of their injuries, George.
So Ian and Lisa are both all right. They sustained minor injuries to their face and to the back of her head in Ms. Schickerling's case. Mr. Gotsell, Nicholas, was taken to hospital, more serious injuries, but he is recovering well. He got some stitches to his head itself. But luckily, all 3 of them are alive, and all 3 of them will be making a recovery. There are obviously many South Africans who fall victim of this who are not as lucky as they were, and we're very grateful to still have all 3 of them with us.
You know, just as we look at what it is that took place, I see in your statement you do talk about these sort of quick actions of those that were in that vehicle. Perhaps talk us through some of that.
Sorry, can you just repeat?
In the statement from the Democratic Alliance there, you make reference to the quick thinking of one of the 3 members of Parliament in this incident. Talk to us about what that would have looked like.
Yes, so Ian acted out of self-defense. The extent to which he did so, I'm not quite sure, but it did have some effect in making sure that the perpetrators then obviously left the scene, and they were able to get away. Well, the 3 MPs were unscathed to a very large extent. So he was able to act quite quickly. I believe he's quite well trained in that sort of thing, but he was able to act in self-defense and make sure that he protects also his 2 colleagues who were with him. So quite grateful for that.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore just the brazen nature of this crime, right? An attempted smash and grab on officials, members of Parliament that are, you know, really working hard to try and legislate so that we're able to bring crime down in the country. They themselves being attacked, and the timing of it, as well as you've got the Western Cape Police Commission also raising the issue of 30 people having been killed in the past week in the Cape Flats. Really concerning. I mean, once again, what is it that needs to be done to deal with crime in the Western Cape, particularly in the Cape Flats? What is it that we simply are missing, that we just cannot get it under control?
Yes. Well, I think the first and foremost, not discounting the lives of my colleagues, but MPs are nothing special in comparison with other South Africans. We are just ordinary South Africans, and what they face today, and what all of us at some point to lesser extents maybe elsewhere have experienced, was crime in South Africa that South Africans and other residents of the country face on a daily basis. Crime does not make exemptions for members of parliament or for anyone else. And it is a serious problem that innocent people face on a daily basis. What we can do in the Western Cape, and the DA has been calling for this for a very long time, is especially areas like the Cape Flats need to be properly resourced, and also obviously specialized units, crime intelligence, all of that needs to be beefed up and properly resourced. What we sit with is a police service that I think is, in terms of resources, a bit of a top-down structure. So you have a lot of resources going to VIP protection, you've got a lot of resources going into high-ranking officials, but it doesn't result into boots on the ground, it doesn't result into crime intelligence, it doesn't result into making sure that we actually have police in those communities. Now, the DA has been asking the national police ministers over many years. I was in the NCOP committee on policing for the last 10 years, that we've called on the ANC ministers of police on a national level for years and years to ask, but please make more resources and more of the finances available to get boots on the ground, make sure there are specialized units in those areas, make sure that you have more police stations in those areas, because in many instances there are massive neighborhoods with absolutely no police stations available to ensure that there's police visibility. So I do think it is a question of prioritizing areas where there is serious crime and making sure that the resources don't get stuck at the top, but that it actually trickles down to actual visible policing in the communities. The Metro, I must say, does a lot in terms of metro policing, but they can't replace the police service that the national government is responsible for. They simply don't have the resources. So national government must come on board and make sure that those communities are properly protected by the police service as well.
You know, just in a few moments, I'll be in conversation with the Western Cape Police Commissioner just to talk about crime levels in the Western Cape. And I'm keen to hear if, especially on the back of this incident with Ian Cameron, if the confidence still is there in the Western Cape Police Commissioner, particularly at a time when, you know, there has been so much attention that's been looked at in the confidence of police to actually clean crime up, even after, for instance, the Mkhwanazi allegations, cleanups that are necessary even in police. You have confidence in his ability to do all of that in the Western Cape?
Well, I think for as long as crime levels are what they are, the overall trust, not only in police and police commissioners, but also police themselves, all the way even down to station level, will obviously suffer. Police need to be visible. Police need to be seen to be protecting the communities. And unfortunately, despite quite a few hardworking police men and women on station level, if they don't have the resources to be able to do their job, I think in all instances, trust not only in the highest ranking police officials, but trust in the police overall is going to suffer. So it comes down again to prioritizing and saying that we need to put resources in these communities and make sure that the residents are safe, and that the police have the resources to be able to keep them safe. Then the police will get trusted, and trust in the provincial commissioners and national police will obviously follow suit. But right now, I would not be surprised if that continues to reach an all-time low. Yeah, well, let me redeem myself as a Michalakis, and I'm saying that right now. Absolutely perfect, and thank you very much for the wonderful pronunciation.
All right, thank you so much for speaking to us, DA Chief Whip there, George Michalakis.